So it's July of 2022, and for the first time in a generation, we're starting to use the word stagflation again. Stagflation was always one of my favorite words in macroeconomics. For some reason, I mean, I knew it was a bad situation. It was always a fascinating concept for me, and now I live to see it. And there's a lot of discussion about when stagflation is going to happen, but I don't think we're going to jump straight to stagflation, and here's why. If we ended up with stagflation today, a lot of people would massively benefit, right? Most of my friends have a lot of student debts, right? A lot of Americans are highly leveraged in their homes, right? Right now, house prices are at a record high, but so is the mortgage debt. And I think the feds would much rather we suffer some margin calls, right? So I own all of my precious metals mining stocks free and clear, right? I own my physical metals free and clear as well. But I'm sure the feds would love to engineer a situation where I had to liquidate some of that to live, right? Because let's face it, as a human being, I need to eat. I need a place to live. Right now, I live out of my car, which I also own free and clear. But if the feds can engineer a situation where everything else is inflating, but assets are deflating, right? In deflation, if you will, right? Imagine silver is $5 an ounce and gold is $400 an ounce, right? And the Dow Jones crashes to, I don't know, 12,000, 13,000. But our necessities, our gasoline, our food, our housing is all inflating, right? Maybe gas is $10, $15, $20 a gallon. Maybe eggs cost $8 a dozen, right? And also further imagine that unemployment is 20, 25%. Now, what do you think is going to happen? A lot of people are going to have to liquidate their assets at a huge loss, right? I'm sure the feds would love to do that to clear out everything before they hyperinflate, right? I suspect that's what's going to happen. And that's why I've been talking about living off of the grid, right? I have a little bit of an advantage because when I was working on my PhD, I also attempted to live off the land for other reasons. And right now I live out of my car. I mean, technically I could afford to move somewhere, but I don't want to get myself into a lease, right? I'd much rather be able to control what happens going forward. Right now, if I get myself into a lease, then we have in deflation, right? And the number of ounces of silver I would need to continue paying that lease would just skyrocket, and I could potentially have to liquidate everything, right? I'd much rather, if I have an issue, go into an Airbnb for some amount of time, right? Like, for example, back in the spring, I had COVID-19. I moved into an Airbnb for a couple weeks, and that's fine, right? Even though it might be more expensive day by day, I'm not locking myself into a situation where I could be suffer a margin call, if you will, right? Anyway, I suspect we'll have an in deflation where we could see silver at $5 an ounce, but I don't want you to get too excited about that because I think it's more to force us to sell silver at $5 an ounce than a buying opportunity, right? But having said that, if you're well positioned in terms of being able to live under the radar, that could be a buying opportunity for you.